that man, the pride of Victoria, British Columbia. Boondock takes this fight on 5 days' notice. The lone Canadian-born fighter who walked into Rogers Place on Saturday and won. Look at him. Tristan Connelly. All this time, I've been searching for the next Canadian star. Well, we have found him. Tristan Connelly, on behalf of Canada, we would like to say congratulations and welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Ariel, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Wow, what a story this is, Tristan. A week ago right now, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, what were you doing? Were you even signed yet? Like, were you signed that no one knew? Because I feel like maybe you were on the verge, but not quite signed yet.
I was waiting. I was waiting to find out if I got it. I found out Monday night, probably 9:30 at night. I mean, we knew the welterweight was out on Saturday, but I didn't have it. I knew I was in the mix. There was talks, but the UFC, from what I understand, did not really want me to come in being a lightweight against Michel, who is a massive welterweight. They thought I was going to get killed, but me and my management, Jason House at Iridium, we believed in me. We knew we could do it. We wanted the fight, so he said it was the hardest negotiation he's ever had. He's like, usually it takes him, half an hour to get guys in. 3 days, three
Wow.
days, and I'm sure the fact that they were in Abu Dhabi didn't really help the situation. But I didn't find out till like 9:30. I was actually teaching a class at my gym in Vancouver, and we were all kind of waiting to see if we get the phone call. Jason calls me, and everyone goes quiet. And I pick it up, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever fought at welterweight before?" And I'm like, "No, I fought a fat guy at 180 once." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I'll call you back." And then we hangs up, and 20 minutes later, I get the phone call. Just ran around the gym, screaming, celebrating. Couldn't have been happier, and basically didn't sleep for the rest of the week. I slept last night. It was pretty much the first night I've slept since Saturday, since I knew a welterweight was out. Because from that point on, I was just wishing, hoping that I found out. Too excited to sleep. So I basically went into that, had to rush and get everything done, make sure everything, all my paperwork was in order, all my medicals were in order, that I was good to go. Then I had to get into the UFC hotel and make sure that I do all the stuff that they needed to be done. So it was just, nonstop go, 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 go. And yeah, the rest is history.
Even as you are recounting this story right now, does it feel real? Like, does it feel like you actually have fought at the UFC? You have a win under your belt. You fought the way you did against a rising star. Like, does this still kind of feel like a dream for you?
Yes and no. I mean, I honestly feel like I deserve to be here. I honestly feel like I've been ready for a long time. I'm not surprised that I did as well as I did. I knew that was exactly how that fight was going to go. There was not a doubt in my mind. I, I knew how Michelle was going to come out. I knew he had all this hype behind him. But I knew that he wasn't going to put me away in the first 3 minutes. And then after that, what's next? What are you going to do when it's my fight? And I knew if he had just taken a little more time, it might have been a different fight. But I knew after a debut like that and watching his old fights, he's had such success with jumping and knocking guys out spectacularly that I knew he was gonna like even more reason for me 5 days notice, lightweight, like he's probably 30 pounds bigger than me, maybe even more. Misses weight, like I wasn't worried for a second. Like honestly, everyone that doesn't train with me was worried. Everyone that trains with me was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna kill that guy." Like there
Wow.
was no doubt, no hesitation. I know how durable I am. I know how tough I am. I knew that like if you watch the fight, like the first 3 minutes, I was planning on losing the first 3 minutes. I didn't even try and hit him. The game plan was to stay on him, but don't get too aggressive because I didn't want to jump into his knee. I knew he was going to come at me with those knees, but the plan was either move out of the way or just stay tight and not move into it. Because like a car crash going 30, not a big deal, but two cars going at each other 30 is a lot harder, right? So I just wanted to make sure that I stayed safe. And it's when you overextend yourself, it's a shot you don't see coming. If I see a shot coming, it's not going to put me away. You can hit me with a truck. If I see it coming, I'll be all right. So I just want to let him dance around, wear himself out. If he starts getting crazy, get the fuck out of there, which is exactly what I did when he started jumping, spinning, and flipping, which people are like, "Oh, you find that disrespectful?" I'm like, "Not at all. It was awesome. How many fighters can say they had someone do that to them in a fight, and they made it through it?" And like I said, he's exactly what I planned on happening. The few things that were a bit different were that he shot to take me down. I actually didn't think he would do that. I thought he'd see that most of my wins were all by submission, and he'd probably try and stay away. But he stayed really tight. He didn't really once we were on the ground. You could tell he didn't really want to let loose or not because I think he knew that if he got too uncomfortable, started hitting me too much, I would have caught him for something. Like the few little movements he did, I had some, he didn't let me get too deep, but he was no knew I was starting to set stuff up right away. So he did a great job of just that second round of kind of holding me there. But I still think I was winning that even off my back. I was throwing more elbows. I was trying to set stuff up. All he was doing was holding on to me. I want that UFC canvas is so grippy and a big strong guy, hard to move those hips and get that movement that you can get on the mats that we're used to.
I love the fact that you just answered like 5 of my questions in one question. Like you're a UFC rookie, but you're a pro when it comes to the media stuff. I love. By the way, going back to the beginning here, did you guys volunteer your services, or did they reach out to you because you're a local guy first? Like, how did it actually first start? You being considered for this fight?
Well, my management,
Okay.
like I say, Jason House from Iridium. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten it. They would have gone with someone else. There's other people because I was ranked number one in Canada at welterweight, but that's only because I fought at 160 at FFC a few months ago. I took a fight on like 8 days' notice in Vegas, and it was, I was like, man, I don't think I can make lightweight. I wasn't planning on training for a fight then. So like, let's do 160. So that ranked me at welterweight, and so I was ranked one at welterweight and lightweight. I knew I was the guy that deserved it, but like I said, and usually a lightweight versus a welterweight, not a big deal. It's just that the explosiveness and the size of Michelle, they're worried that I would get hurt, but man, I wasn't.
Did you ever get close to getting signed by the UFC? Like, did you ever have talks with them, or you or your management ever have talks with them in the past, or for the longest time were they just not looking in your direction?
Well, in Edmonton, if something happened, I knew I would get a call, but because there were some lightweights on that card, and I fought the same day, and I was training to fight. I had a 5 round war on July 27th against a guy named Dwan Owens, who got to give a shout out to him because he's a stud, man. That was one of the hardest fights I've ever been in. I put him away in the 5th round, and I had him mounted, and I was smashing him for a minute, and he was intelligently defending. He was working. He was trying. He did not give up for a second. The ref gave him so much time, and he couldn't improve his position. I got real good top control, real heavy hips, and he couldn't get out. And luckily, I put him away. People are like, "Oh, are you so happy about your performance in your fight?" Like, yeah, of course I am. I got 100 grand. It's awesome, but I had a perfect finish rate in all my wins, and I just screwed that up on Saturday night. So I'm a little bit choked about that.
What did you think when he missed weight and then at the ceremonial weigh-ins did that thing where he did the backflip and kind of messed it up? Like just all the theatrics. I'm not talking about the fight itself, but just everything leading up to it. You're the guy who takes the fight on short notice. I know you usually fight at 155, but he misses weight. Then the theatrics at the weigh-ins. Like, what are you thinking as you're watching all this?
Weakness. You don't make weight, you make weight. You don't not make weight. If you quit making weight, you're gonna quit in the fight. That's all I thought.
Okay. And then you get to the fight itself. You see him dancing to the cage. I mean, I'm sure you knew of the guy, you knew his style, as you just alluded to. But were you just thinking, all right, let me just weather this and then I'm good? Like, none of that seemed to phase you at all. Like, you were even, I mean, it's crazy because you would think a guy in his debut, guy flipping in front of you, doing all the stuff, everyone's psyched about him. You'd be a little, you'd be a little nervous. You would buckle under the pressure. You were just shrugging this off like it ain't no thing. It was so impressive to watch your demeanor in there.
I mean, there's always nerves with every fight. I didn't really feel that like there's more excitement for this fight than any other fight. I wouldn't say I was more nervous for any other fight. If fight's a fight, there could be no one in there. There could be 20,000 people in there. I tune it all out. I knew he was going to come like that. Like, great. We don't want to waste energy. Waste energy. I have no problem with that. People said, "Oh, it's disrespectful." Not at all. He's a professional fighter in the UFC. He's gotten to the UFC doing this, knocking dudes out spectacularly. It obviously works. If that's what works and you're winning doing it, why would that be anything wrong with that? Like, do what works for you. And to be honest, it made the fight that much better. Like, it takes two to tango. I was only half the fight. If he wasn't jumping, flipping, doing all that, it wouldn't be nearly as good of a story as it is. One of my corners, Dan Kajak, he said, man, if this were a movie, he's like, I'd be like, get out of here. This is stupid. This is Hollywood bullshit. This would never happen. Like all the factors that led into it. He's like, it's like Rocky. Like there's this, it's insane. Like I can't believe that all these things came together the way they came together from the 5 days to the weight class up to him being big to him missing weight, to me being a massive underdog in my hometown. winning the fight, getting like not only getting the bonus, getting his bonus. Like it's just there's so much. And I talked to Michelle. I had my friend he doesn't speak any English, but the Aurelio brothers are good friends. I've been doing capoeira with them. They've been doing capoeira to me. I'm not a huge jumper spinner, obviously, but I've been seeing guys jump and flip and spin, not quite to the extent as Michelle, but I'm used to that random kind of style. Um, so like, I'm not too worried, or I wasn't too worried. I kind of forgot the question you asked, for being
Oh,
honest, and kind of went on a tangent.
no
So you
problem.
might have to
Wait,
tell me
did you
again.
say did you say that you reached out to Michelle afterwards? You spoke to
Oh
him
yeah, I
afterwards?
reached out. Yeah, I reached. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I reached out and I said, "Hey man, like, thank you, obviously, because without him accepting the fight and taking the fight, I was a dangerous fight for him too. People always say, "Oh, you want weight class up?" It's like, yeah, but he took a fight against a guy on 5 days' notice, a weight class down, and he lost. That sucks for him. Like
Right.
it really does. That was a huge risk because now what if what happened? That it happened. So that was a risk. So I said, man, like I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to come out like that. I'm not saying don't go crazy. I love your crazy. It's amazing. I'm going to be a fan forever. But start a little more fundamentally, take a little more time, then throw your crazy stuff in there, and then go back to being fundamental. One, you're going to save way more energy. You're going to recover. Two, I'm not going to be able to predict it as much, or your opponent's not going to be able to predict it as much. It's going to have a way, way higher chance of working. And I really hope he takes that and runs with it because I want to see him. Like I say, I'm a fan. I'm out of the welterweight division now, so I want to see him go on a tear and mess everyone up.
Wow, that is great. I mean, good on you for reaching out to him and sharing that advice. How much did the crowd help? Because it really seemed like they were getting behind you. Of course, you're the local guy. Up until that point, none of the Canadian-born fighters had won. Here you come, you're Rudy. Daniel Cormier called you Rudy. How much did you feel the crowd, and how much did they help you?
Fight time, I'm fighting. I don't pay attention to anything. When I first started walking the hallway, I look up and I saw a bunch of faces. I was like, I just got to tune them out. Like I can't, if I pay attention to one, it's gonna screw me up. So I just focus, go in, tune it all out. It's almost like I have, I trying to listen to my corner, couldn't hear them. That's the one thing. I couldn't hear anything because it was so loud. But it was just noise. I had a job to do, and that's all I was paying attention to.
And of course, we see you. I mean, the background there where you're doing the interview, a bunch of EA Sports stuff. Cormier mentioned as you were walking to the cage. So you actually work at EA Sports. You're like their jiu-jitsu instructor. What do you do there?
Yeah, I teach jujitsu. I teach kickboxing. I do a mocap for the UFC games a lot as well. So I talked to them and I said, like I don't really want to do this from my phone and with the AirPods. They're like, oh, come in here. We'll set you up, get you on a computer here, make it look better. So that's why I have all this sweet background and these awesome headphones, and I'm not holding a phone and wiggling around like
Yeah.
I would be otherwise.
Wait. So where are you right now?
I'm at EA Sports in
Oh,
Vancouver.
wow. So you
So
have like your own office there, or they just let you?
no, they just set me up. They hooked me up. I told they're all in here watching me. It's they're all part of my team, so they're taking care of me.
And so do you help with the video games like themselves, or you just help them? Like you're just the friendly instructor that comes in and gets everyone into shape.
Well, I have two jobs. So
Okay.
one, I teach jujitsu. Because they have an awesome facility here. They take care of all their staff really well. They have a outdoor soccer turf, an indoor gym, studios, fitness studios, everything. So I come in here and I teach jujitsu twice a week, and I teach kickboxing once a week, and then also. When they do mocap, I'm their main guy for doing mocap. So when we're shooting, like for the fight stuff, like they have different guys for theatrical stuff because I'm not an actor.
Wow.
I can't jump and spin and flip, but when it comes to punching and kicking, me and my buddies Achilles Enstrom, who's also another killer that's coming up. Me and him usually are the ones that come and we pretend to punch each other in the face in the suits, take each other down, and do all that fun stuff. So I've been doing that for years with them. So I always like to say, when you see like, are you in the game? I'm already in the game. You see when someone's really
Huh.
sloppy and looks like crap, that's me.
I mean, I would imagine. I don't know like how they do that sort of stuff, but you need to be like the update guy. Like don't they do updates? I'm really dumb when it comes to video games, but can't you like download fighters? You need to be in the game today, right? Like they need to get on this right now, right?
I'll tell them that in a sec.
I mean, come on.
I don't know the process, but I think for adding a character, they just adding moves that character has done, and then they're taking a picture of their face and putting it over. They're probably looking at me like I don't know if I said that right, but
Uh,
that's what I'm doing.
how'd you get that gig,
So
by the way?
well, my old coach was the instructor and the stunt coordinator and did all like kind of the consultant, if you will, the MMA consultant.
Okay.
Uh, so years ago, I started coming in, and he's actually kind of moved out of the position of teaching, and I was taking over for him. So that's how I got the first gig. And then, of course, they need someone. Well, I live here. I'm a professional fighter. They know me. I'm the go-to guy. So I've been coming in, doing working on with them for a long time, and it's funny they don't really bring consultants in anymore because they have to have a stunt coordinator. Stunt coordinator in the last 5-6 shoots hasn't done a single thing. Like I think they have to have it there for uh, legal purposes, but they don't ask. They ask me when it comes to, hey, what would you do to fight here? They ask me in Achilles. Like and plus we got brown, purple, blue belts here now. It's been going on for a long time. Like we got some real good guys in the jiu-jitsu program here, and they've been making the game for a while now. So they're it's we're all just spitballing ideas off each other. Like, hey, like this, we could do this from here. Like, what would you do from here? Would you do this? It's like, well, because there's a balance. Sometimes it's what would you do, and well, what's going to work in the game, right? Like, it's not always the same thing. It's like, yeah, you would do that, but we can't make that work in the game. And a lot of the times you'd be like, yeah, you never do that, but the player has the choice to do that. So you have to do the wrong thing, and because if they click that button, they have to be able to do it, right?
So you mentioned that you got the $100,000 bonus because you guys got fight of the night. Your 50K, you get his 50K because he missed weight. You also get 20% of his purse. You got your show and win. How do you feel about getting his portion? Like at the end of the day, he did fight and he was in there. And as you said, it takes two to tango. Do you think that is fair because he missed weight that you get the whole pot?
Yes and no. Obviously, I feel bad for him. I feel like, man, you fucked up. Like, make weight. It's why you make weight. And I do feel bad for him. But it's not like I'm going to turn down the extra $50,000. I still have to pay my management their cut. I hope what it is he learns a real good lesson from this. I know he actually had a hard week. He had a bunch of his corners visas got turned down. He had no one helping him all week. He ended up getting people in at the end of the week, but he had no one helping him cut weight. He's a young guy. He was fighting at 185 mostly from what I've seen before the UFC. So he might not have had these big drastic cuts. And at his age, and no one to help him, it was a hard week for him. And my heart goes out to the guy. Like I couldn't have been a nicer guy. Came up to me like he came up to me the first time, and I didn't even know if he knew who I recognized me because he was so nice. He doesn't speak English. He came up to me with his phone. I was sitting doing like USADA stuff, this little course I had to do. I was the only one there, and he walks up to me with his phone. Oh, excuse me, gives me his phone. Do you know what the food is? And I was like, oh, the fridge. Oh, thank you. So he goes, thanks. And then the next day we're at weigh-ins. They line us out, or the fake weigh-ins, or the ceremonial weigh-ins, I should say.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We're all waiting there, and so we're just talking to the translator. He's telling me, thank you for taking the fight. I'm so sorry I missed weight. It's been a really hard week for me with everything. And I was like, man, like, thank you. You accepted the fight against me. This is a dream come true. Like, I've been busting my ass for years, and you're giving me an opportunity to shine. And I mean, I'm gonna, but I feel a little bit bad for having to kick your ass tomorrow, but it's all business. Most of the guys I fight end up being real good friends with. Like 90% of fighters are wicked guys before and after. We're all chasing the same dream. We're all on the same journey. Just like in life, 10% of people are assholes. Most of the people are nice. So that's generally how it is for most people I fight. 90% of the people I fought, I've become real good friends with. 10% don't really care for. And that's kind of how it goes.
Speaking of that long journey, after your fight, I don't know if you saw this, but Frank Mir posted something on Instagram, which was pretty amazing. Apparently, you met each other way back in the day. This photo was taken 9 years ago, and it was at an event in Victoria, AFC. At the time you just lost, he was there to corner his friend Robert Drysdale. You were 1-2 at the time. You went up to him, and now here he is remembering this photo somehow and posting it after your victory. Do you remember? I mean, I would imagine you remember this. Who was that guy? Who was Tristan Connelly back then? And is it kind of surreal now to see Frank, like you went up to Frank Mir for the photo. Now he's honoring you after your UFC debut 9 years later. What a crazy turn of events.
Yeah, man. It's obviously it's awesome. Like that night, that was the only night I've ever really gotten my ass kicked. Like I fought a guy named Dan Ring, and he's better than me. Outclassed me, beat me up everywhere. Won 3 rounds. I fought my heart out, but I had moments, but he beat me up. And Frank was there. He's in my dressing room. I didn't talk to him the whole time. I walk out of the fight. Just got stitches. Like I had to hold my lip open and let the doctor stitch me. He's like, "Ah, it's only a couple. We're not going to put any freezing in." So he's sticking the needle in my lip. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. All right, I guess you'll ask Frank Mir for a picture now." And he was like, "Yeah, of course." And didn't really talk after. And I actually got to see Frank at FFC when I fought. Like I said, I took that fight on 8 days' notice in FFC a few months back, and Frank was the commentator for that. And he told me, "Hey, Frank, like years ago, this is you're at AFC, and I got a picture with you here." And after the fight, he gave me a shout out, and so I said, "Hey, like." I know. I just want to say, remember this was so I sent him the picture, being like, "Hey, this was that picture of us all those years ago. I was telling you about the last couple months." And then I see he read it, didn't do anything, and an hour later I see this post, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Frank Mir just gave me this shout out. That's amazing."
Huh.
So, and it's I just the journey, man. Like I was 29 years old, 5-5. I had no amateur fights. I was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I probably shouldn't have taken a pro fight, but there wasn't really much amateur stuff going on back then around where I was at. So, I went 1-1. I didn't really know what I was doing. I said yes to everyone. Took every fight I could. My second fight, after won my first one, I went to Japan. I fought a guy with 30 fights. I had a minute and a half of cage time. Took him to decision. It was fried rules, soccer kicks, head stomps. I soccer kicked him in the face, split him wide open. But he got the decision on me, and I just kept going. And the only reason I kept fighting is because I love fighting. And I knew I don't care about the money. I just want to keep kicking ass and keep getting better. And I've been coaching a lot more and more and more, and fighting. And I always I never thought I was going to make it to the UFC. I thought I was just going to keep fighting because I love doing it until I can't do it anymore, and then I'm just going to become a coach because it's the only thing I want to do in life. I don't want to be involved in anything other than MMA. It's my passion, and I'm in it till the end.
Is Tristan Connelly the new face of Canadian MMA? Like I said, we've been looking for someone. I feel like you're that guy. You're quintessentially Canadian. Why not you?
Ah,
Do you
hey,
assume the throne?
uh, hey, I'll take it. I got no problem with that role. I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I have the skills. I have the training partners. I have everything I need. Like we're really doing something special up here. It's I say my gym, check my Vancouver, but it's not just it's all the best gyms in the Lower Mainland. Like so my gym's check my Vancouver. My buddy Dan, who's in my corner, has a gym called Universal in North Van. Unreal. Roll Jiu Jitsu is another wicked gym in North Van that I go to. We're partners with the Sound in Squamish. That's where Cole Smith's main gym is. They're Checkmat Squamish. They're basically our partner gym. Revolution and Langley. Um, I train with everyone here at EA. Like I have awesome people wherever I go. Also Scorpion MMA, and Pitt Meadows been working with Dan Golker. He's been helping a lot with my striking. I got a lot to work on. This is a never-ending journey, and I'm always improving, always getting better. I'm never going to be where I want to be, so I'm going to have to keep working until I die.
When do you want to return?
I'm hearing December 14th. Sounds like a pretty good card.
Okay.
So I wouldn't mind that in Vegas. I mean, I could fight even sooner, but really potentially. I feel I didn't take much damage in the fight. I feel pretty good. Other than bumps and bruises. I'm sore, a little sore, but other than that, I think give me a few days, we should be pretty, pretty good to go. I'm gonna go back and lift some weights and do some light stuff tonight. I get right back into the mix. Keep my diet on point. I went out, had some pizza and a few beers. Got absolutely mauled by people. I'm like, "Okay, let's go back to the hotel." And I tried to sleep, couldn't sleep, never sleep after a fight. So last night was really the first good night's sleep I've had in a week.
Wow. And just to be clear, you're going to fight at 155, correct?
Oh God, yeah. I Michelle was the perfect opponent for me to fight at 170, which everyone thinks is insane. I'm like, man, if it was just a boxer wrestler at 170, like the size would have been a lot harder for me to deal with. I don't know that I would have been able to tire him out in the same way. Because I knew that the way to win this fight was to tire him out. I'm not gonna fight everyone like that. Like, what if someone else is crazy cardio? That would be a dumb way to fight him, right? I'm leaving openings. I was loose. I just that was the way to beat the opponent. It was the game plan. I followed the game plan. Like the game plan to begin with in the first round was be on him, but not too far in. I don't want to pressure too far hard and run into that knee, but I don't want to give him space to recover. I want to make him keep hitting me. Like I know when he hit, like as long as I'm in the pocket, kind of like just outside the pocket, but not quite in kicking range. That's where I want it to be. He starts getting all crazy. Just get the fuck out of dodge, be out of the way, get back in on him, and just make him work. After that backflip and I got back up, he was all mine. Like it was that was his time. His time to win. It was that first 3 minutes. He didn't. Then it became Tristan time, and I went to work, and I knew there was no steps backwards. There was no stopping. Don't worry about hitting him hard. Like I wasn't even worried about hitting him hard. I was just feinting, moving, nonstop movement, nonstop getting him stuff to think about. Like my hands weren't great in the right position, but I landed some hard shots on him. Hard shots that I saw wobble his eye. Like I think I caught him with like a hook or an uppercut in the clinch, and he fell over kind of after because I was holding him up, and I threw him, and he fell down to the side, and that's when he started shooting on me. Your striking's working when you make a striker shoot on a grappler. So, I mean, it kind of threw me a little bit. I wasn't expecting him to shoot, but just means that my hands are starting to. I've got some good power in them.
Congratulations, man. What a wonderful story. I love stories like this, and great to see a Canadian do well on the Canadian stage, and especially coming out of nowhere against someone with that much hype. I mean, it was just amazing to watch. So enjoy this moment, enjoy the victory, enjoy everything that comes with it. Welcome to the UFC, and we're very excited to see where you go from here. Well done, my man. Thanks for doing this.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me on. Everyone's blown away. People that I've looked up to are messaging me like, "You're on Ariel Helwani. That's crazy." And I'm like, well, like I said, I feel like I deserve to be here. Just it's nice to finally get a recognition for all the hard work I put in.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.